Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is $3 Theater. And one of the biggest standout characters in regards to the Marvel Cinematic Universe has clearly been Tom Hiddleston's Loki. Ever since seeing him in Thor in 2011, people have really liked the character, so much so that he's been around quite a bit. Quite a bit. He was the villain in 2012 Avengers. He was kind of kind of an anti-hero in 2013's Thor: The Dark World. Popped up again in Thor Ragnarok, and then ultimately died a hero, essentially, in Thor or in Avengers Endgame. I mean, people have liked seeing Loki. They've enjoyed Loki. And we learned that there's going to be even a Loki TV show going to Disney Plus that's going to star Tom Hiddleston. And the question I've always kind of had is, why? Like, why? Are they just trying to find a show that they can tell there? And they went to Tom like, hey, you were on that show, The Night Watch. That did pretty good. How would you feel about coming over to Disney Plus? And since I'm pretty sure that Tom still enjoys playing the character and it's his most popular character to date, they probably want to make sure that he probably wants to keep it going. But then it dawned on me how they were going to do it, how they were going to make that a reality a couple days ago when news of this broke, where Marvel confirms that Loki was mind controlled in Avengers. Yeah, that's right. So they really want to make sure that people know that Loki is not the bad guy, right? They're retconning Loki in order to make sure that everything he did in Avengers, being the bad guy, everything he did, it was just was simply because he was under control of the Mind Stone, right? Kind of like how he used it to control Hawkeye and Eric Selvig in Avengers. It's just that's just how they're doing it. But it goes on to say here in the Marvel site. It says, arriving at the sanctuary through a wormhole caused by the Bifrost, Loki met the Other, ruler of the ancient race of extraterrestrials known as the Chitauri, and Thanos. Offering the god of mischief dominion over his brother's favorite realm, Earth, Thanos requested the Tesseract in return. Gifted with the scepter that acted as the mind control device, Loki would be able to influence others. Unbeknownst to him, the scepter was also influencing him, fueling his hatred over his brother Thor and the inhabitants of Earth. And that apparently makes up for everything Loki did, right? Remember, there's that line in Avengers where Thor's like, well, he's my brother. And then Black Widow says he's killed 80 people over 2 days. And then he goes, oh, he's adopted. And that's meant to be played up for a laugh, but it's also showcasing the villainousness that is Loki's character. And yes, they calmed him down in Thor: The Dark World, and they fleshed him out a bit when he was upset over the death of his mother, Freya. I get that. And then, of course, him kind of becoming a hero in Thor Ragnarok kind of kept that particular arc going. And now they're going back and trying to say, well, he was simply under a spell. He was just entirely under a spell. It doesn't mean anything. Sure, he killed a lot of people. Sure, he brought about the destruction of New York City to an extent. Sure, he unleashed an alien race upon the world. Sure, yeah, but he was just, he was just underneath the control of the Mind Stone. That's all it was. They're retconning Loki so they can tell a solid story about him being the hero on Disney Plus. It's a marketing gimmick. Now, listen, I'm not against it per se. All right. I just want you guys to be aware that I'm not against it per se. I like the character. I like Tom Hiddleston as Loki. I want to see what the God of Mischief is going to get up to in regards to what might happen in this Disney Plus limited event show that's meant to be around, 8 episodes, about an hour long each. I want to see what happens. And if they feel that they need to retcon the actions of Avengers in order to do that, that's fine. But let's not take away from his actions in the first Thor movie. And let's not take away from what happened after the events of Thor: The Dark World, where he did impersonate Odin and banish him to Earth, where he did take over. That was, that's kind of a thing. Yeah, he didn't commit patricide or regicide, but he did still banish his father, the king, away to Earth into an old folks home. That still happened. He still is not the best character. Now, I don't know if they're going to find a way to retcon him even further for Avengers Endgame. And I'm not too sure if people would be willing to look over the events of his actions in the first Avengers film. But by the time we see this particular show, which won't be until 2020, it will have been 8 years since the events of Avengers. So people might have forgotten everything about it. And of course, this particular passage of him being under the influence of the Mind Stone, which fueled this hatred of his brother, which apparently was broken with Thor Ragnarok, or at least Thor the Dark World, is going to be an aspect where they're going to probably find a way to retcon that and then use it as a way to turn him into more of a hero. I mean, we've seen this before. Look at the Fast and Furious franchise. I think is the best example of this, where the Fast and Furious franchise has a way of taking villains from previous films and then turning them into part of the team, or at least an ally of sorts. It's kind of what they do. So, you know, it seems to be a working factor. You take a bad guy who was a bad guy in a number of movies, and then you make him a good guy by giving him a TV show where he's the hero, where he might do questionable things, but he does it for all the right reasons. I don't know. Marvel retconning Loki does feel a bit like a little bit of a stretch, but at the same time, they've also turned him into this very popular character who people like. People want to keep him around. People have been asking for a Loki movie, which in that case would make him the hero. So it's kind of like watching the Shards of the Past Vader fan film. We know Vader is bad, but the way that they presented it is that he's still kind of a good guy in some aspects of it, and they make us feel for the character. And if they're able to do that with a villain, it makes for better storytelling in that regard, and nuance to the character, which I'm okay with. But at the same time, it's also kind of laughable. But anyway, I'll leave it to you guys. What are your thoughts? What are your opinions on this? Do you feel that do you feel that this is something that that is worthwhile? Do you care about this at all? Am I overthinking it? Am I underthinking it? Leave your thoughts, leave your opinions. If you want to call into our voicemail line, you can do so at 818-350-3281. That's 818-350-3281. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. Please feel free to like, subscribe to the channel, check out 3 Book Reviews, links in the video description. Have a good day, guys, and peace out.